Welcome, everybody. Tim Edwards calling in from Dallas. Going to go over a really interesting topic today that I call belief systems. And it's, when you're thinking about the business, it really comes down to what you believe and what you don't believe, and that really dictates your success. And a lot of times when you're new in the business, you don't really know what to focus on, what you should believe. If you don't believe in something, how can you get belief? And sometimes you have a lack of belief somewhere and you don't even know it. And so that's the real danger, is when you don't really know what's going on inside yourself, and it causes a lot of confusion. And, when people are confused, they don't do anything. They just kind of lock up and get paralyzed. And if you don't have a way to find out, you can keep working and working and working and working with no results, which just wears people out. I think that's why there's a lot of attrition in the business. So we're going to go over this step by step today, and I know this will help if you'll apply it. So on a scale of 1 to 10, until you become a 10 in every single category of the 5 belief systems I'm going to teach you today, and you've got to also get your team members to this level too. And if you don't, you're not going to duplicate enough to be successful. And this is why, again, as I mentioned, 90% of the people end up quitting. If you ever wondered what makes some people, really, really successful, they can go into things, one thing after another and be successful, while other people, they look like they're playing the part. They seem to be doing everything they're told, but it's just not working for them. This baffled me for years, and I was actually in that category. And one of the reasons that I've become a good trainer and mentor is because I was the worst person on the planet to ever start the business and actually make it to the level that I am. I've never seen anybody worse than me that ended up doing better than me. So it was one of those things where I was just so bad, but I was really dedicated to learn. I wanted to be free really, really bad. And so I'm a better business person than I am a direct salesperson. And I've learned to kind of break things down and evaluate what's going on, and that really helped me understand what I needed to do. It helped me understand how to teach people what to do. And of course, then you've got systems and other things that help, that if they're done right, it just magnifies or turbocharges the business. But I didn't have anybody to tell me what the answers were. I heard people say stock stuff. When you make that decision, things start to happen. And that's all they say. And I was sitting back going, decide what? I was really, really frustrated that I couldn't get any help from anybody. It was just a lot of stock stuff thrown out, and there really wasn't any true mentoring that I thought on my level. There was no real strategy on how to really solve what's going on with people. So the first thing you have to do is identify, what you need to believe in. There are a couple of categories or a few categories that are commonly taught, and there's one that's talked about, but nobody really teaches you how to overcome the problem if you have it. And there's one that I've found that's really never taught, and I found it to be super critical. And on a scale of 1 to 10, if you're not a 10 in all 5 categories, you will not succeed at the highest level. But more importantly, unless you can help your teammates identify where their belief system is lacking, you'll get less duplication. And a big team is the key to your success, but duplication is the key to your teammates' success. And this is where I see another issue in the industry, where you got some people that really successful, make a ton of money, but they're kind of like an athlete that they can just blow it out. They're an all-pro, and and everybody wants them, and they're awesome. But sometimes they can't always tell you how they did it, right? So that's where it takes a coach and a mentor to break down what's going on with you and help you in the areas that you need, versus just saying go do it. So if your people are not consistently growing themselves and their team, you will be the only one making money on your team. And what that means is constant turnover. People are going to be quitting because they're tired of hanging on. They get no results. And again, this is one of the reasons where why there's so much what I call company hopping. People jump around from this to that, and that's just rampant these days. And it's worse now, because instead of committing to learning the business or mentoring people or learning what you need to do, people are buying into this multiple streams of income thing, which I don't believe in at all. If you look at the top 20 people in the industry, they all do one program. Now, I know that goes against, some people's beliefs, but honestly, you just got to look at the facts. And so when I look at that, I'm more dedicated to trying to figure out what I got to do and what I got to teach people to do to be a top producer, not go with the rest of the people that buy into any other type of philosophy. So no matter what deal the person is in, if they don't understand these facts I'm going to tell you today, it's just not going to work for them. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your belief system in your company? Now, this is taught pretty commonly, but a lot of times people don't tell you how to get that right. A lot of people are talking about this, but the instruction is not there. So when you're talking about a company is only as good as the people, meaning the CEO and the corporate staff are. Company is just a name, right? That's just an entity. That has nothing to do with how the company is run. That has nothing to do with the people, the track record or anything. So, what is the track record of your CEO? Do you have one that's had, failures in the past? Have they run companies like this and failed? Have they ever run a company like this and succeeded? Those are really important facts. You don't hear people talking about that, but really, again, a company's only as good as the owner, their track record for success, or their track record of failure, because, typically people that run companies successfully over and over and over do it again. They've got it down. People that have failed several times or never succeeded at building a big company or a profitable company, the odds of them pulling it off are not as good. Does that make sense? So again, if they've had successful, ventures in direct sales, that's a key. Now, do you know the company's vision statement? Are they committed to the rep force? Or are they accessible to you? Can you get to the people at the top? A lot of times it's it's this worship kind of thing, and people are kind of standoffish, and they teach they put people up on a pedestal, and you can't access them, you can't talk to them. It's one of those things where unless you really, really produce and get to the highest levels in the company, you don't have access to the company people, or sometimes even your leaders. You want to get to know them, their background, what their mission statement is, and make sure that you're on board with everything. If your belief in your company is not a 10, stop and get it. Get to a 10 and then go forward. And here's the thing. Here's how you know if you really believe. If anybody says, "Oh, that's a scam," if that affects your energy, you don't truly believe. You're simply regurgitating information. Oh, this company's got a great track record. It's been around for this, or this guy's done that. You say that, and so you think you believe. But when somebody challenges your belief, or sends you something negative, or some bozo online makes some kind of critical evaluation of it, but they've never had any experience with it. I can tell you every top company. You can look at the top 10 companies in direct sales right now. Some have been around for 50, 60, 70 years. Right, and some have just done, they've done billions and billions of dollars, but there's people bashing them everywhere, right? But honestly, if they weren't really good, they wouldn't have weathered the regulatory compliance. They wouldn't have made all the tripwires. They wouldn't have made it to the billions in sales, and and their top leaders wouldn't be making millions of dollars. So there has to be something there, or there wouldn't be so many people succeeding. So you believe at your core that this is real, and you believe in your company. It's like saying, if somebody walked up to you and said, that's really not air that you're breathing. You're going to think immediately, well, something's wrong with them, right? It wouldn't affect your belief systems at all. And so what has to happen when people challenge you and your company, it has to not affect you. You have to know they don't get or they don't understand what you know. Does that make sense? On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your belief in your products and services? And again, this is a commonly taught thing, but and there's a lot of different ways you can go about this. But really, if you're looking at your competition's products, you've got to have a distinct advantage. You've got to have something distinguishable, that's different. Another thing that's a challenge for people, especially if you've got a consumable product, is price. Price is a biggie. Many quality products, if they've got a hefty comp plan on top of them, they're a little bit pricey and they're not affordable by sometimes the masses. If it's affordable by the masses and it's got a big comp plan on it, it's usually got pretty standard ingredients where you could probably go get that product pretty much anywhere. But what happens with the quality products that have a big pay plan on top of them, the frugal people that say, hey, I can't justify the cost on that. I'd never spend that much for a vitamin or that much for skincare or whatever. And if you believe that, you will not be effective at talking about the products. So your lack of belief will create a situation where you can't honestly transfer passion and belief to those that you speak with. That's the ticket on this. And that's why these belief systems are so key. If you can't transfer your belief to people, if you're just talking it, oh, it's great, it's this, that, if deep down you believe it's not great or it's too pricey for most people, you can say whatever you want. People are not going to buy because you don't believe. You've got to transfer a belief or it doesn't work. That's why all these belief systems I'm going to teach you today are critical. You've got to have all of them. So do your homework to get on board with the products, and if you don't, you're not going to successfully market them. That's just a fact. and experience. When somebody buys the product or service, do you hear good reviews? Customers talking about a product or a service or a game or whatever it is to their friends is the key to those customers potentially upgrading to a rep. If they love it and talk about it and others have an interest, a lot of them are going to say, hey, I need to do this because I've got some friends that are interested, right? Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your belief in the people that you work directly with? And I stress work directly with. Not people way up the chain that you never talk to, the people that you work directly with. Because if they're not accessible and they don't give you time when you need it and they don't return your phone calls, they are not a mentor. Get this. Everybody says the word mentor, right? Sponsors sign you up. Uplines collect checks. Mentors work with you daily and make you money. There's a huge difference. If they're not working with you daily and making you money, they're not a mentor. They're either a sponsor or an upline. Now, do you have a system, a structure with live trainings, not a pitch fest, not constant opportunity presentations where people go on, for enormous amounts of time talking about how great it is. It's great, it's great, it's awesome, but that's not training, right? That's a little more. I call that on the hype side. I like real nuts and bolts that people can apply and get results on. If you're not teaching people how to do something better or how to become better, again, it's just a bunch of rambling and a bunch of hype. Do you have access to them one-on-one? I can't stress this enough, to build your business daily. If so, are you utilizing them regularly? Now, this is a big key because I can tell you I've got people on this call right now on my team that don't use me. Right? So I don't care how great your pay plan is, how great your mentor is, how great your company is. If you're not bringing people to your mentor on a regular basis so that they can help drive your business and get results, you won't make it no matter how great everything is. So, you do have to utilize, the stuff that's out there if you're going to get better. If you don't utilize it, you're not going to make any money. Because if you're not getting it done on your own, why would you keep doing that over and over and over and over and over when you have access to somebody that would actually get results with you? Right? That makes, man, if I'd had somebody that would have taken all my calls and talked to all my people, I'd have slept on their front porch. I would have worn them completely out until they kicked me out of the nest. Right? There's too many people that don't use their mentors. Now, again, you've got to have prospects that are in front of your mentor daily. Again, live nuts and bolts training, a system that converts sales, and your check should be growing. You need access to the upline and have a system that works, and you've got to have 1,000% belief in your mentor. And how do you get that? It comes from results. It can't just come from, oh, this guy's great. He's been in the business for 87 years and made, $3 billion. That's not belief in that person. That's credibility and respect. But unless you work with that person and they can help you build your business and grow your check, again, they're an upline or a sponsor. They're not a mentor. So they're not your mentor anyway. Now, I can remember hearing anybody can do the business, right? This is one of the ones that's really a big deal. So these next two that I'm going to teach you are the most, probably the biggest problems in the business, and these are the two that most people get tripped up on. Because the rest of the stuff, it's easier to get the belief in those because with a little homework or working with things, you can kind of get that up. But when it comes to yourself and the next one that I'm going to talk about that nobody talks about, they're different. So when you say, if you say anybody can do the business, right? That you hear that all the time, But think about it. That's like saying anybody can become president. When you say that, it's 100% true. But it doesn't mean that you believe that you can become president. If you're a kid and you believe you can become president, I can tell you there's not one president probably in the history of the United States that didn't say at some point when they were a kid they were going to become president. A lot of that has to do with it. They just had that belief. Now, a lot of people said that they didn't get it done, right, because they changed their belief or they decided they want to do something else. But you have to believe. So, and you got to see the difference here. The blanket statement referring to the general population making it does not instill belief in you. You have to believe in yourself. Okay, now if you've never had big success, if you've never tried, this type of business and you have fear, maybe you've tried this type of business, a lot of times and not had success, at a high level. But what you have to do is you got to understand that you've got to get to a score of 10 right here with you, or if you don't, you're going to struggle big time. And I'm going to show you how to become a 10 and believe in yourself 100%, and it's really critical. And I'm going to show you that here in just a second. Now, here's a biggie that nobody talks about. This is kind of I didn't really discover this for a long time. On a scale of 1 to 10, what's your belief in others? This is a huge trap that it's not being taught. It can kill your business. It can kill your new teammates. And here's what I mean. When you start off saying stock stuff like anybody can do this, and you show it to everyone, right? And a few people get the big picture, and many people who start quit, right? I mean, that's just part of the business. This is like it's like quicksand. You know, if you're not careful, you know, if you've done this for a while and you sign someone up, if your thought is they're probably not going to make it, right? This means you don't really believe anyone can do this, or you don't believe in that person. And here's how that happens. When you sign several people up that quit, you start to doubt. Then you sign somebody up that says, hey, we're going to do this together. You know, I'll never quit. You know, we're going to be best buddies. We're going to hit golf balls off the yacht. You know, and so when you're new, you buy into this, right? And the problem is that you buy into it too quickly, right? And then you get very close to these people, and when they quit, it hurts big time. You know, I've had some people that became really, really good friends. I've even had people in my family, you know, that they say they're not going to quit, and when they do, it really rocks you, you know. You know, so when you sign somebody up and you think they're perfect, you know, because here's what happens too. You sign somebody up that they're a real hitter, right? They've been super successful at something, or they've done another program at a high level, and so you've got 1,000% belief that they're going to be a superstar, and you think, I'm set now. You know, this person's going to make it to the top. You know, I'm going to make it, you know, because they got so much potential. They've done this or that, and what happens is they quit, right? And your belief starts to fade. So you get all these things going on in here that affect these belief systems, you know, and these patterns are wiring in your brain, and you start to think a certain way based on the results or the lack of results that you've had in the past. And what happens then is this. You start to go, well, you know, and this is subconscious. This isn't a conscious thought. You say, well, I'm going to wait until they prove themselves, you know, and your attitude changes to protect yourself from getting close to somebody so that you don't get let down or disappointed. Does that make sense? So it's really more of almost a self-preservation type of thought where you don't want to get connected to them because when they quit, it hurts. Now, this is critical. Here's what you have to do, because you can't fall in this trap. You have to believe until there's proof otherwise. In other words, when somebody joins, you've got to believe 1,000% in that person until something changes, they opt out and completely move away from you. And it's kind of difficult to do sometimes, especially if you've had a lack of results. But I can tell you, your team runs on your belief until they get their own. And so if you doubt in the beginning or don't get connected with belief, you don't transfer that to them, and so their belief wanes, and so it transfers, it duplicates, right? And they do the same thing for their people. And the results are really bad when you don't believe like this. So what you must do is what I always do, because I'm a very logical person. I establish some type of logic that I can always go back to, I can hang on to, you know, until the results are evident. And what I mean is this. When I was new, I believed with all of my heart anybody could do this business, right, which is true. But after a ton of attrition, because I wasn't a real mentor yet, nor did I have one to back me up or help me, I started creating belief systems that killed my results and killed the results of my team. So what I'm about to tell you, you can lock and load, or you should lock and load, so you can skip years of struggle. It's really important, this part right here. Okay, it was almost 5 years into my business before I hit the top of my previous pay plan, or my previous company, which was way back in end of 1996. It was 5 years and 3 months after I'd become at the top, right, until I actually sponsored somebody into my business that ever became a top-level person. So I was the only one at the top of my pay plan, which again is what happens a lot in the industry because I wasn't a mentor yet, right? I didn't know what to do. And so why is this? Again, I didn't have the skills. I wasn't a mentor. I wasn't teaching people what to do and how to do it. I was just sponsoring a lot of people, you know, and finally I amassed enough people that hung on till I got to the top because I didn't know what to do. So I got trapped into thinking and believing, you know, this reality that I'd kind of created, and it held me back, and it held a lot of people on my team back. You know, and they started duplicating that. So since I didn't believe, you know, they didn't believe. So, you got to get a grip on this, and you got to get mental leverage on how to stop this, because it's disempowering beliefs in you, and you transfer those. Whatever you believe will transfer to other people. Whatever you don't believe transfers to other people, or they just feel it. So the person I sponsored who made it to the top, I didn't believe in this person, right? Then they were a royal pain in the butt, and so what I did is I sort of let them kind of do their own thing. I just kind of discounted them, right? I didn't give them any time because I didn't know that any different back then. And since I was at the top, I sponsored about 10 other people that I got to the top later, right? Because I believed in me, but I didn't believe in some people, right? So I was still conflicted there. And my confidence was really high, and that's why I got other people to the top. But here's the thing, when people go to the top, it increases your belief, but you still don't believe in everybody. Anybody can do it, but you're still not teaching everybody can do this because you don't believe in it. And it just taught me a really valuable lesson. I'm going to tell you how to get around this. Okay, I had to change how I thought. Okay, so I came back to logic, and so I thought, so some of the people that I thought would make it didn't, right? Some of the people that I thought wouldn't did make it. So what I did is I came to logic. I said I knew that my thoughts and my belief systems could empower other people, or I could really hurt their progress if I didn't believe in them. And I had another instance where I had someone, come to me and they were going to quit, right? And they wanted to apologize for letting me down, letting the team down. And this is after I discovered what I'm about to teach you. I let this person pour it all out, right? And I said, look, I believe in you 1,000%. I will never quit on you. If you want to quit on yourself, that's up to you. And it just rocked, right? Because it rocked into the core, because they knew that I believed in them. And so really the disappointment was that I believed in them. I knew they could do it, and that they were really letting me down if they quit. So it kind of flipped it around, right? So they ended up staying in the business. And what's interesting, because I had that belief and I stopped them right there as they were leaving, they became a top leader in this program, and they went on to become a national trainer industry-wide. I'm not going to say the name, but pretty well known, right? Some of you guys have probably even watched them, bought their CDs, their tapes, whatever. So it's like a child or a student or a young athlete. If somebody really believes in them, they can hang on and eventually thrive. If nobody believes in them, many develop a lifelong belief system that's a lack of confidence, and it holds them back their entire life in a lot of cases. And it's really false information. Let me say something to you right now, and I'm talking to you just like an individual. I may not know you yet, but you can do this. I know that now, and you need to know that now, and you got to lock that in. I firmly believe I believed in some people who quit. I believed in some people. I didn't believe in some people who made it. So the conclusion came down to really is that, I can't play God. I can't believe or not believe. It's got to be something that I just leave it up to God, right? I need to believe in people 100% until they quit or drop out. And that's got to be from the first day, no matter what they seem like. Because again, I had people that I absolutely knew wouldn't make it to the top that did. And you've probably done that before too. And I had people that I absolutely believed in would make it to the top that quit. So you got to say, I don't know, right? That's the conclusion. Don't play God. Believe in everybody until they get the belief in themselves or on their own, or they quit. That's a real easy way to boil it down to logic, so that you can actually think properly and set up the right thought process. So in closing, give yourself an honest score in each category. First, a 1 to 10 on your company, then a 1 to 10 on your products, 1 to 10 on in the mentor that you work with one-on-one daily, 1 to 10 on yourself, and then 1 to 10 on others. You can make money, but you cannot be a top leader if you don't have a score of 50.